Hello and welcome to my allotment for the first time on video in 2022. So here we are. I'll do a little bit of panning round to show what's going on. It's the end of April, 26th of April, so there's still more soil than green, but things are starting to get going, and I'll take you on a little tour of what's been going on. So first of all, over here, the rhubarb. I'm stopping there because there's a train coming by, when I first started doing these videos, it's a very loud one. When I first started doing these videos a couple of years ago in lockdown, of course the trains were empty. Now they're back to normal. COVID's gone apparently, but it hasn't. Anyway, let's not dwell on that. So here's the rhubarb, which is looking. It's pretty much getting ready for picking. Look at that. Can you see in there? I mean, it's lovely. So this was a little route that was left in the allotment car park about 3 years ago, and I put it in, and now it's resplendent. It looks lovely, doesn't it? So there's going to be crumbles and jams afoot from there. Then I'll move on to the production area over here. So let's have a look at my compost heap. Oh, that's actually looking quite good, isn't it? That's all sorts of stuff from the autumn, and then what I try and chop it up as small as I can to increase the surface area for all the bacteria and fungi to attack, and then I water it if it dries out. But that's not bad. It's got some big stems in there, but overall it's doing quite well. It shows you though, that's been a lot of material, and it's barely up to halfway on the compost heap, but good stuff. I can put that on. So let me do that. I've got some oh my god, my lid's just fallen off my comfrey container. Flipping heck. Oh gee, see, this isn't very Hollywood quality, is it? So there is my look at that. That's my comfrey juice. That's from last year. That is frothing. It's like a sourdough that's not a sourdough. I mean, but look, there's spiders and all sorts living in there. It's quite strange. There are things living there. But so that's my comfrey juice from comfrey leaves rotted down last year, which is going to be used as a liquid fertilizer. Oh my god, all the lids blew off. All the lids blew off in the flipping storm, and so I don't know whose lid it is, or whether it's the right lid, or it's obviously not the right lid. So anyway, it's a lid, but we've got lid gate here, and it's just there's bits were flying in all directions. I've got something over there, by the way. Don't know whose that is. That flew over as well. Anyway, then over here, I've moved. I've now got a new wormery at home, and I've moved the old wormery to here. So look, I had a delivery this week from Yorkshire Worms. So in there are the worms. Oh, there's a big sort of, I don't know, some sort of big bee or fly as well. Anyway, so in they're in there. They're hiding now. They take a few days. They've got like sort of jet lag from travelling. They were in a little packet with air pockets and air holes, but they're now here. So I'm letting them settle with a bit of food, and then they'll be ready to get going. Then over here we have well, no, let me do this in an ordered way. So right over on this side, oh, that's not very good, is it? That's the pea growth and other growth preparation area, something like that. And then along here though it gets better. So this is all along this. I'm quite lucky. So it's the boundary of my allotment. It's not really my allotment, but I've put a load of all sorts of things there to try and attract pollinators. Basically, that's the main point of that area. So that goes all the way along there, and I'll go through that now actually. So we've got the comfrey, which I've spoken about many times over the videos, which is coming up now, which is going to be amazing for bees. Somebody was chopping down an apple tree, so I've put that branch in there to try and support it, because it tends to grow about 4 foot tall, 5 foot tall, and then collapse. So that's why that's there. So all along here, so I've got over there a big geranium. That's one that's been there a while, and then if you can see these little geraniums, they're actually from Regent's Park, from my horticulture course. I need to do a bit of weeding around them, but those are in there. They're a little reminder of my studying at Regent's Park. And then also I've got alliums. I've got, I think it's either a companion or a bramble, one of the two. Lots of alliums. I've had some daffodils. I've got over here the poached eggplant, Limnanthes douglasii. I've got some lovely pinky dead nettles, and now I am on a horticulture course. I do apologise. I'll be dropping Latin names left, right, and centre, probably getting them wrong. And anybody from my course who watches it will know just how proud we are when we remember one. That one is, I think, Lamium purpureum, and then we've got some lots of lovely dandelions. I've actually saved 2 bees so far this year. I've found little bumblebees, or big bumblebees, lying on their backs with no energy, and I tried one with water and sugar. Didn't make any difference, wasn't interested. Put them both on dandelions, and oh, they came back. They got some food and energy, and off they flew. So anytime you find a bumblebee that's just looking like it's on death's door, try and stick it on a dandelion. Even better if the dandelion is in a sunny position, because then it'll be really producing nectar, and it works a treat. So yeah, dandelions, Taraxacum officinale. Then here I've got the salsify. So this is all stuff, it seeds everywhere, and I try and put it over here because it'll have beautiful flowers. I mean, you can eat the root as well, nice cross between parsnippy, potatoey type thing, and very high in nutrients as well. So that's a clump of salsify. I've got a couple of green gage trees here that are supposed to cross-pollinate, and it looks like, if I look, you can see, let me see, if you go really, if I zoom really, well, I'm going to test my skills, isn't it? Go right, zoom up there, can you see the little green dot? That is the beginnings of green gage. So we've got some decent pollination, I think, there. And then, oh, look at this, I've got here a Fritillaria imperialis. Look at that beauty. Oh, it's magnificent. And the reason I've got it is because watching Gardener's World, they're pollinated by blue tits. So I'm waiting to see if blue tits come and do their doings on that, and that would be amazing. So yeah, but it's looking lovely. I mean, it's a bonkers plant, isn't it? It's absolutely amazing. So I'm there. Then over here, I've got lots of I've sown all sorts of wildflowers and stuff here. I think that's some Rudbeckia from last year. I've got some of that. I've got verbascums, I've got Phacelia, I've got that's a catmint, all sorts of stuff. So this is yeah, that's one of my pollinator beds. And then with remarkable feet dexterity, can you do that? Or is it dexterity with hands? I don't know. Here's the pond. Now I did, let's see, this, oh, I'm sure we won't see anything, but oh, I can see something moving down in there actually. But so what happened here? So I didn't have any frog spawn this year, but there's a pond nearby by a farm, and there was always full of spawn, and then it dries out and they all go to waste. So I nipped over there and grabbed a bucketful. So I know there are tadpoles in here, but also there's a lot of plants, as you can see. So they're all merrily hiding well under there. But we should be getting dragonflies and damselflies emerging soon. The larvae emerging. So it's a lovely, healthy pond. There is my well, it's a hibernaculum obviously, but in fact it's a pile of logs with stuff on it where hopefully all sorts of critters can hibernate and hide, and all sorts of things living in there. Mostly good. There's probably a few pesky critters that probably aren't so good around the allotment, but anyway, live and let live. So there's my newish bench where I sit down and have a rest and watch what's going on. And then here we've got more stuff. We've got my wild hedgerow at the back, this is only its second summer, so it was planted in spring last year, so that's looking good. And then we've got more poached eggplants, we've got sage, we've got green alkanet, aquiledias, we've got some digitalis foxgloves, we've got some Echium vulgaris, Viper's bugloss at the back. I'm just dropping these names. I obviously only know about 10, so I have to make the most of them. We've got here a person I know on Twitter is what I'll say at the moment. I'm going to be working with her next week, so I'm from then on, so that's great. But she told me that this is her name's Lucy. She told me this is garlic mustard, which I hadn't ever realised. So it's growing here, and sure enough, it really does taste like garlicky mustard. So if you see it, it's very common at the moment, all around along streets, in woods, anywhere. Have a little chomp. It's really, really amazingly nice. And then I've got some campion coming up there. Well, I've got all sorts here. It's just for wildlife. So that's along there, nothing to do with vegetable growing. I'm going to swirl round. Oh my god, you're probably dizzy. I'm dizzy. So let's then have a look at the beds. So I've got here, first of all, a load of chives. They were sown as seeds last spring, and then they're just coming up ready to start flowering, which will be nice. I've got strawberries running amok here. They are running amok, and I've got this is a row here of perpetual spinach. This is last year's spinach, which, I mean, we have armies of pigeons come here, and this was a sorry state about a month ago. They chewed it all down to the ground over the winter. So I put this cage here, and with remarkable DIY skills, obviously, and now it's doing really well. So we've got loads of really lovely petrol spinach. So we had a risotto the other night, really nice. Just get a bit of risotto rice, bit of vegetable stock, bit of butter, bit of cheese, and loads and loads of finely chopped spinach in there, bit of nutmeg, bit of garlic, loads of salt and pepper. It's really nice, and good for you too, but really nice, most importantly. So yeah, there's the strawberries. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. There is, well, let me do a bit more filming. So look, we've got some lovely big flowers coming, really nice flowers coming. So so that's looking optimistic. Last year a mouse ate every single strawberry bar one, so this time I'll be prepared. And more about the mouse in a minute. But yes, here we've got the potatoes. So this is the first early Charlotte potatoes, named after a good friend of mine, obviously. So yeah, they're coming up. So I'll need to keep an eye on those, because the temperature's supposed to be dropping down to 3 or 4 degrees at night at the moment. So I'll probably need to earth those up, or certainly keep an eye on the temperature, because if it goes below freezing, you get frost, then all these leaves just turn black and die, and then you have to wait for the plant to try and summon the energy to thrust up again through the earth. But it's not so good, and it certainly delays the crop, but it can actually stop it. So need to keep a close eye at this time of year until, well, probably till the end of May. Make sure that there's no frost coming to destroy stuff. And the same with the strawberries, actually. So if you get a frost this time of year, then those beautiful centres of the strawberry, where the strawberries come from, they go black when they're frosted, and that's the end of strawberry on that particular stem. So so again, you need to be careful. I need to be careful about frosts. And then I'll carry on here. So what I've got here is obviously beds with soil that's wet, but I've got because we had some sort of linen box thing that collapsed, and the good news about that was it created all these pieces of wood that I can use for markers, and it looks I quite like a nice marker. So we've got well, I'm using this is some Italian seeds I've got. So I can tell you that on the left there is Bietola da Orto, and it's Egitto Migliorata, which is beetroot, or is it chard? Oh God. One of the reasons I'm doing this is I can learn Italian vegetable names, because I'm studying Italian, if you don't know, but I'm not very good on vegetables. So anyway, one of them is beetroot and one is chard, but they've got nice names. Verde da taglio, and yeah, it's there, which is green to cut, I think it means. That's how I think it. I think. Anyway, less of that. Then we've got some peas here, because I've sown them in the greenhouse lots of times, and a pesky mouse got in and ate them all. So I'm starting again. And then here we've got some ones that I sowed earlier that I thought weren't germinating, but look, here we go. There is the rainbow chard seeds, and by rainbow it just means you can get red chard, what are they called, ruby chard. You can get all sorts of different chards. Rainbow chard just means you get a packet seed which has got green, yellow and red stemmed. Look at these, they're all here. So they are actually, I thought I'd sow them very thinly. Usually the rule is you sow them quite thickly, and then if some don't come up, you're okay, and you can take out the weak ones. I sowed them very thinly, and then didn't think they were germinating, but they are, so that's good. So I'm going to have lots of chard here, and you can never have too much chard. Then the strawberries are erupting, so it's quite amazing. So they, about 3 weeks ago they were all like about that. Now they're that big, and they will be, so by July they'll be right up to the top. They'll be about 4 or 5 foot tall and fruiting. They grow so quick, it's amazing. Got all that energy is sitting there under the soil in their roots, and they're waiting for the conditions to be right, and then poof, up they come. So these are autumn fruiting raspberries. You can get two sorts, summer and autumn. The summer ones actually fruit on the previous year's canes, so, and these ones fruit on this year's canes. So these ones will grow, create canes this year, will fruit on them. Whereas if they were summer ones, they'd already be very tall, and they'd fruit early because they haven't got to do all the growing. So that's the two different types, and they require different sort of pruning in the autumn to make sure you get more raspberries the next year. Did I say strawberries then? It was raspberries, by the way. I might have said strawberries. Then that is a bed of hope. There's nothing in it. It's a bed of promise. It will be full soon. Then over here we've got my garlic. Now this is looking good at the moment, but I have white rot in the plot. So I didn't grow any last year, because what happens is you get to about May, June, looking good, and then everything rots really quickly. So what I've done is I'm using the sort of no-dig methodology. I've put a layer of cardboard on the soil to stop contact between the roots and the original soil, and then I've put a layer of compost on, and I've planted into the top of that. So I'm hoping that will be a barrier against these roots coming into contact with the white rot fungal spores, which sit in the soil for up to 15 years waiting for the plant to appear. So at the moment they look good, but as I say, that's not really an indication, because they can look good and then suddenly the fungus does its work and they drop. But they look a good size. They look really healthy actually, and I've got some just in case. I've got some in some containers that definitely won't have white rot, because that's just fresh compost. And the one at the end there, I think that is elephant garlic. I say I think because I did a label which washed off. So yes, not really very useful having a blank label in that. Then we've got some broad beans. So these are ones I sowed about, oh well, I can tell you because I have got a label now. Wait a minute, look. Oh no, I didn't put the date on. So on my course, a practical course, it tells you all about, you put the name of the plant out on the label, and you put the date on, definitely, and I didn't put the date on at all, so that's disappointing. But I think it was about the 9th of March I sowed these, so they're looking nice and healthy. So they'll be beaning, I don't know, June if we're lucky, probably July. But then another bed of promise and hope, and on the other side of that is some beans. So these ones were sowed in September. So the idea, there's many ideas of sowing. You get them earlier. The beans are earlier, they're ready earlier, and this year they should be ready maybe end of May, and that's good. One, because you get them earlier, so you can eat them earlier, but also because the black fly, the aphids, overwinter until about April, and then they look for somewhere to start landing on and reproducing on quickly. These just about get away with not being infested with black fly with a bit of luck, because they're grown and they're cropped before the black fly really get going. So that's another reason for growing them, planting them earlier. But look, they've been beautiful flowers, fragrant as well, and you know, you could grow these in any garden or in a container, because they look so lovely. And then you get beans. You can't get better broad beans than the ones you grow yourself, because normally, oh, there's a train again. The ones you get in shops, I mean, they're just too big and starchy, and you know, they're nowhere near the sweets. The small broad bean pods, you can actually eat the whole pod when they're small, and you can certainly, the beans are bright green and sweet and juicy, and yeah, they're completely different. So if you think you don't like broad beans, try and grow your own, and then you'll see whether you like them or not, and you will like them. Yeah. And then over here we've got the remnants. I'm gonna grab some of this in a minute. We're gonna have purple sprouting broccoli with pine nuts and garlic and chili with some fresh pasta tonight. And here you can see some of it. This is the cage. This is to stop pigeons. I put a cage round all this broccoli, so it's a lovely cage with all the netting around. Then they discovered they could land on the plants through the netting, and it formed a little sort of little ledge for them, a little roof for them. So they just chomped away all through the winter. So these aren't as good as they might have been. And you can see that. So the yellow flowers is when it the purple sprouting. That's the flower bud before it opens, and then when it's gone too far, it goes to the yellow flowers. And then but the good thing about the yellow flowers, you get little chuffers like that in there. So that's nice. So it's worth leaving it once they go over to let the pollinators get there. Look, that one's really getting in there. It likes it. And then yeah. So then you get the flowers, and then you'll get the seeds. It goes to seeds. So they're nearly ready for clearing, and then I'll put another crop in here. But we've had lots of it. It's been the first year I've grown them and actually got any crop from them in my life, I think. So that's good. But I've learned quite a lot about them, because you can see they're in the storms. You can see that they're all sort of almost lying at an angle. They all got knocked back, knocked down. It's been they're in the ground a long time. I'm sowing next year's now, and they're in the ground until almost a year. So they have to withstand a lot. So I'm going to protect them a bit more next time, and I'm going to make the cage not be perfect for pigeons to sit on and having a feast with a napkin around their neck, chomping away, doing wood pigeony calls to each other. So yeah, so here's a little. So on the final bit, I'm going to wander into the greenhouse, which survived the storms. I lost a couple of panes of glass, but that was all. That's quite a miracle, because well, yeah, it got a right hammering actually. So in fact the bottom, there's a spare piece of glass or two. That bottom ledge of the greenhouse actually blew in. It actually was bent. The metal was bent, which is quite incredible. So how it actually, yeah, so it did well to survive, I would say. But anyway, so in here we have got, I mean, it's lovely. Look at this. There's a lot of seeds are being sown all the time, and I'll whistle through. We've got tomatoes, we've got the purple sprouting broccoli, so that will become next year's crop. Next year's crop. Amazing, those little things will become those great big hulking things we've just seen. And then I've got all sorts of things. So there I've got some, they are devil's bit scabious. This is verbena, what is it? Bonariensis, yeah. And well, you can see, I mean, the trouble is, it's like a watched pan never boils. A watched seed never seems to grow, and they seem to have been at that stage for a long time. We've got some carrots here, then sweet corn. I've got the one I risked that early. Risk growing sweet corn, started up early. That's now a next one I've just sown, and then I've got some more here. So I'm going different stages of sweet corn, and we'll see what happens with them. Oh, the excitement! And then here we've got some. That's going to be flat leaf parsley. I'm not going to show you the soil. There's all sorts of beans going here. I've got some cosmos over there. That's a cosmos bipaniculata. Let's have a look. I got that right. Oh God, we've got another label that you can hardly read. Oh, Cosmos bipinatus. I wasn't far off, was I? Wasn't far off. That's quite good. And that over there are Cerinthe, there. And then I've got some more down here. I've got some basil growing there, and then all sorts of different sunflower. Yeah, because in here, so there was a mouse, and literally I'd sow sunflowers and pumpkin seeds, and the next day it'd eat them all. So I got these little trap things, got the mouse in there, and went and put him on the field right at the end. So it's now mouse free, which is good. There's not much point saying things if the mouse eats the whole lot. And then we've got some radishes, a quick sort of crop in here. Get some nice sweet juicy radishes, and yeah. So that's about it. So it's early stages. Oh, here's one bit I haven't said. Yeah, so here's this is also a bee area. So this is all going to be poached eggplants, which will look amazing, and the bees will be falling over themselves with glee, just munching away and sniffing and rummaging around the flowers. They're going to love it. So that's good. And I've got all sorts of bits here, a bit of fennel, so and some legumes, some veg there, which just seeds itself, and the bees love too. So yeah. Oh, and I must just say, I've got a friend Amy, who does these painted stones. And look over here. There you go. Isn't that lovely? So she painted that for me and that's right outside my greenhouse, ready to welcome me and anybody else who fancies coming. But obviously intruders will be prosecuted. So There you go, there you go, there is the allotment. I'll do one final sweep along. There's loads of beds of hope, there's loads of stuff coming up. It's just early, and it's amazing because in another couple of months this will be just growing like mad and green and full on, because the day's getting longer and the warmth, the increased temperatures, the combination is exponential in the impact. So yeah, there we go. Lovely. See ya. Bye.